Welcome to the Michael Singer Podcast, presented by Sounds True, in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information about Michael Singer's work, access to all prior episodes, and information about upcoming releases, we invite you to join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Masters. People think that logic and reason have no place in spirituality, and that spirituality has nothing to do with logic and reason. That is so not true. That is the battle between the levels of your mind, of your thinking. We've discussed this so many times before, but I don't know who gets it. You have mind. Is that a bad thing? No. You have a body. Is that a bad thing? You have a heart. Is that a bad thing? You have a mind. Where did you get your body? How much did it cost? Who did you have to pay? No, it was a gift. It was just a gift that was given to you. Here's a body for the self, for the consciousness to live in, to experience life. You need a body. You're given a heart. Isn't that a terrible thing? They can hurt, can't they? But they really can feel love, can't they? They can feel inspiration. They can be an amazing thing, right? So the heart was a gift that was given to you. Did you make it? Right? Your heart that feels? No. You're given a mind. Is that a bad thing? No. Your mind developed the computer. How brilliant must it be that it took silicon and minerals out of the earth and figured out how to make IC chips and NVIDIA chips and this, that, and the other thing, and then program AI? Who did that? Your mind did. Wow. That's amazing, isn't it? Not your mind, the human mind. It's a very great thing, the human mind. And it learned and passed knowledge through the mind on to others. It's just a phenomenal thing. It's not a problem. It's a gift. You study some Zen teachers of the mind is trouble. Well, the mind's trouble is how you use it. The mind is not trouble. What if you didn't have one? How would you like that? All right, what if you didn't have a heart? So you have one. They're great things. They're gifts of creation. You did not make the mind. Don't talk about the brain. The brain is not the mind. The brain is a chunk of matter that's very, very complex neuron systems. What are they? Atoms. They pass information up to the self. You are in there aware of what your thoughts are. You're aware of your feelings. You're aware of your body. You're aware of the world you see. Who is? You are. That's the beginning of spirituality. Who's in there? Who's using the mind? Who's feeling the heart? You are there. That's who you are. That's something by soul, by essence, self. The being who's conscious, I call him the end user, who's receiving all these messages. Well, that's very great that you have systems that can do that. Well, what's the problem then? I'll do it very quickly and very simply. There's nothing wrong with the mind. There's nothing wrong with the heart. It depends on how you use it. There's nothing wrong with the body, right? Drug it all up and use it to kill people and use it to all kinds of express all your problems. Body's got a problem. But it's not the body's problem. The body's a phenomenal instrument. It heals itself. We've talked about that before. All the systems of the body are there so that you, the consciousness, can experience life. That's why you have senses. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what was out there, would you? Did you give yourself eyeballs and ears and this? No. They came with the package. And it's quite a package, isn't it? And it heals itself. You have the immune system, you have this system, you have the skeletal system, so that the body can stand up and not just be a blob laying down there. Every single system has the purpose of providing the consciousness the ability to experience life. Can it get sick? Of course it can get sick. Anything can have a problem, But overall, I've challenged you. Overall, if you take every single minute that every single person ever lived, I'm telling you 99.9% was healthy. The body's a phenomenal thing. The whole immune system, it takes care of itself. So you have a body doing that. It's a gift. You did not make it. There's 35 trillion living cells that make up your body. Every single cell in your body, in your foot, and your toe, and this and that, every single. I think your hair and your fingernails are not alive; they're dead skin. Everything, your kidneys, your organs, everything, are living organisms talking to each other to create this phenomenal thing called a body. It was a gift given to you. When was the last time you said thank you to those 35 trillion cells? You just don't pay any attention to what's really going on. Well, it's the same thing with your mind and the same thing with your heart. Okay, let's talk about mind, as we started talking about. Where did it go wrong? If it's such a gift, why is there so much suffering? Why is there so much disharmony? Why is there so much trouble? And if you study it, you're going to say that mind is causing the trouble. And you're right. But not mind is what you did with your mind. And we'll do it very quickly because I do it all the time. Well, why is it not just this great gift that can go? Microsoft says, where do you want to go today? It'll take you anywhere you want to go. You can go to Mars, you can go here, you can go there, you can study anything. Mine can take you anywhere. Well, where does yours take you? Why did he say that? I don't know. I don't like that he said that. What should I do? Maybe I should. No, I don't want to do that because I'll get embarrassed. But what if he finds out that I'm even thinking about it? Oh, no. Anybody's mind do that ever? Whoa. That don't look like such a gift. What was that going on in there? Somebody once asked me, when they read The Untethered Soul, about the voice in your head. You got one of those? Why did God put this crazy negative voice in my head? God did not do that. You did. You did. You have free will. And again, look how logic hits spirituality, like the biblical teachings. You have free will. Who does? You in there. Not your toe. Your toe moves because you told it to. You have free will. I know you don't think you do. Like, does a drug addict have free will? Of course they have free will. They're just not using it. Can you get off drugs? Can you go through withdrawal? Is it easy? No. Why? Because you allowed yourself to develop patterns psychologically, physiologically, that create an addiction. And it's very hard to break that. But you did it. You're the one who chose to shoot up. You're the one who chose to do this. Somebody's using will. Are you mad at me? Can I talk like this? You understand that? You're using will, all right? And will leaves the result of what you did. If you take your car and you drive it into the wall, you'll have an accident. Why? Because you drove your car into the wall. There are willful acts going on here. But then some of psychology, I read something once, and I don't mind it, that you do not have free will. And what they meant was you can get so screwed up in your psychological and physiological problems with addictions, patterns, that it's hard to overcome. Really hard, isn't it? Come on, you've been somewhere. It doesn't mean you can't. You, the inner being, are more powerful than anything you're dealing with. But it's hard to use it when you're being pulled down and you feel pain and you're not doing well if you don't have drugs or whatever it is. You do have free will. And if you really focus it, you can break any addiction. You can lose weight. You can do that. You can study. I can do well at school. How else do you study? I don't. Well, you can. You have free will. The problem is there are patterns, habitual patterns, neural pathways, call them whatever you want, that make it so that if I go out there on the field, we have a beautiful field out there in the back, and it's a big hill. It slopes down to a little stream, pretty steep. If I run water down that hill, it will tend to spread out fairly even. If I dig the smallest ditch, I mean, if I literally use the lawnmower to cut down a 2-foot section and the rest is high, the water will find the path of least resistance. And it will start to flow down that area, and then it will dig a ditch. It will erode. And eventually it will erode enough to where there's this gully, and all water will flow into that gully. That is what a habit is. It's a pattern of energy that you have allowed, or purposely, unpurposely, I don't care. You've allowed it to dig that ditch, and now you have trouble breaking it. It will just naturally flow that way. I'm not blaming you. This is not a guilt discussion. It has nothing to do with guilt. It has to do with science. Like I said, intellect, logic, reason, they're part of spirituality. The mind has the ability to reason and logic. And so you realize that's what happened here. And both the body and the psyche gets addicted to this flow of energy. And you get used to that. That's fine. It's understandable. Do you have free will? Yes, you do. You have free will. But like I said, it's not a guilt trip. Like AA, who I have a lot of respect for, they help a lot of people. They basically say that you don't have free will, that you can't do it, that you're so addicted that you have to call upon the power of God, which is a wonderful thing to do. You have to have a force stronger than you. Do you all know that about AA? Okay, it's part of the 12-step program that you have to have that, which is wonderful. And then what you've done is use your free will to give away your habit to God or to a sponsor or to whatever. But you have free will. If you don't use it, it won't do any good at all. So you're in there. Where does will come from? Do you have will? Can you assert will? Yes or no? Okay? Even when you do terrible things like suppress, I can't handle this, I don't want to deal with it, I practice denial, that's will. You just used will to push away a pattern that's inside of you. When Freud talks about suppression, did anybody ever ask Sigmund, where did the power come from to suppress? Me? It came from me. I'm the one who did it. I pushed it away. And then it became addictive, and I wouldn't let it come back up. I used will to push it back down. I'm trying to show you, you have free will. It's how you're using it. That's a whole other issue. All right? So why is the mind so much trouble? First, I'm going to say it over again. We're going to make believe there's two minds. The intellectual, abstract, creative mind that can do anything and go anywhere, all right? And the addictive, personal, minuscule, tiny mind that's thinking about me. Does it think about me? What do I want? What do I like? What do I don't like? Oh my God, what am I going to do about this? Does it create drama? Does it have needs and hopes and all about you? Yes or no? Okay, that's a different mind than the intellectual mind that thinks about science, that thinks about the universe, that thinks about God. So we're going to talk about the impersonal mind and the personal mind. So to me, first of all, I want to get something straight. That's wrong. There's just mind. The ocean is one body of water until I take ropes and break off part of it that you're allowed to swim in and not the other. Now there's two parts. The part you're allowed to swim in, that I took the salt out and put walls up, and the other. It's the same ocean. There's only one mind, all of you. And by the way, there's really only one mind, but we're not going there right now. All right? There, you have one mind. You have broken it up into the part that thinks about you and the part that, if you're lucky, thinks about not you, that thinks about intellect and science and creativity and music and all kinds of things. But if you take the music and decide, I want to do something great so I can get rich and be famous, that's the personal mind. You just took the power of intellect and brought it down onto you. Now, see what personal mind is? The one that thinks about you. So guess how much of your mental thoughts are about you? You do not want to answer because it's embarrassing. I don't think about me. How about my children? If it has I, me, or mine in it, it's about you. Are your children the same as everybody else's children? No, they're mine. Okay. So there's this part of mine that is segmented out, part of the great mind, part of mine, that is segmented out and is addicted to thinking about thoughts about you. Again, it's not guilt. I'm not blaming you. Let's have a nice intellectual discussion. Is it true that there is a part of mind like that? Is it true that you don't always have to be pulled down into that you can be inspired into things beyond yourself? Pure thought, pure intellect, pure reason. Fair enough? Okay. How did it get separated like that? I told you the ocean can be separated because you separated it. You put walls around it. Said there's outside, there's inside. There's no outside or inside in the ocean. So you sit there and say, how did it get like that? The explanation is so deep, but so simple. It doesn't take tons of psychology books to understand what's going on. What's going on is as follows. There's a world out there. Check. Now, I understand it's really just quantum field vibrating, but it manifests up here for us to look like a world out there. Fine. We'll start that way. I usually start with the quantum field. I like it much better, right? But it comes up, and here it is. Here it is. Okay? It became atoms, and then this, and electrons and protons, and then molecules, and all I know is your eyes sees it as him. He's not there. He's just a little quantum field vibrating. So we can accept truth. It fits perfectly fine. All right. So what happens? You're born. What does that mean? The consciousness takes residence or is involved with a particular body. You're going to find out when it's done that that's not really true. Consciousness doesn't have to be like pulled out like that, but let's just deal with what's going on. So now you are receiving what? You're receiving the input from your senses. That's what you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, feel. Okay. How do you know what's going on out there? Because my body, the gift that I was given, has I/O ports. How do you like that? It has sensors. You call them senses. I call them sensors. They are sensors. They pick up light. They pick up sound. They pick up touch, smell, etc. They pick it up and they send it where? Back into you. Who? You in there. Hi. Is anybody not in there? Have you noticed you're in there? You're receiving the messages that are coming in. How did you receive them? That's what the body's about. It has a nervous system, which is really wires that send the impulses up, and it comes back to the brain that receive it all. And ultimately, you're sitting at the console, taking it all in. You're the end user. Do you always take it all in? No. If you get lost in thought while the impulse is coming in, you don't see them. You don't deal with them. Just like a computer, if you turn off the screen or whatever it is. So the stuff comes in. I love it. What comes in? What is within the realm of your senses? Comes in, passes up, and ends up in the mind. Now that subtle difference, because those of you that know a lot about biology and medicine and stuff, they don't know that. They talk about the blood-brain barrier. That's a very difficult barrier to pass, the barrier between the blood from the body coming into the brain, all right? That's why a lot of medicines have trouble working, because they don't pass the blood-brain barrier. When you get past, there's this brain in there, and it's like an electronic, unbelievable, it's all neurons firing and all that stuff, but it's electronic. That is not your mind. You meditate enough, you understand the deep teachings enough, and you will understand the physical plane, meaning what? Atoms, that which is made of form, and your brain is that, and so are the nervous system. It's all that. It emanates energy. It's like an aura. It just vibrates. Those vibrations get picked up on a higher plane. Oh, you mean some mystical? No. It's just we haven't measured it yet. You didn't used to measure X-rays and infrared and ultraviolet. You didn't have machines that could do that. When you found out that there were these different higher vibrations, as they are, the electromagnetic spectrum, there's higher and higher vibrations and lower vibrations. Dogs can hear what you can't. It's there. They just have the ability to sense it and pick it up. We have made machinery, some serious machinery, like the super colliders. We have machinery now that can pick up gravitational waves. And I don't want to talk to what that is. Just understand, whoa, that's down to the core of foundation. I can talk a little bit, right? But it's not the right venue. You go study gravitational waves and understand how sensitive the instruments are that are picking up that. All right. Someday we will have instruments that pick up the subtle vibration that passes between your brain's vibrations and what we call the mental plane. It's just it comes in and it vibrates. What does it vibrate? It vibrates what it picked up. So that's what's going on. All right. Well, fine. Where did the personal mind come from? The stuff comes in from all the senses. Does it all feel the same? If you see a butterfly and a rattling, hissing rattlesnake, and they come in through your same senses, and they come in, you in there, do they feel the same to you? Oh, wow. That's natural. The Buddhists say everything has its nature. You've heard that? That rattlesnake has a nature. It's not just its physical form, it's giving us some vibes. And the vibes come in along with the physical form. So when it comes in, guess what? It does not feel pleasant. The butterfly, on the other hand, when it comes in, it's soft and sweet and beautiful. So if something hits your body or your nervous system and it's too strong, it doesn't feel good when it comes in. Versus if they're like loving you and being very kind, same thing with smells. So everything has its own nature, has its own vibration. It makes me cry to try to talk to you like this because nobody would teach you this. Yet they all study it. They all know it's the truth. So basically it comes in and you're in there. How do you know you're in there? Because I felt it, because I'm experiencing it. I don't care if it started outside. It used the senses to pass it into me, and I'm living it here. And that don't feel good. All right. What do you in there that has free will? How do you use your free will? You have free will. Who does? You do. Someday I'll give a whole talk on that. Where does will come from? What is it? It's part of you. It's from you. The focus of your consciousness, by focusing your consciousness, you project power, energy, and that's what will is. You don't exercise will by not focusing. Not a single thing you ever did that tried to exercise will when you weren't paying attention. If you try to hold a thought in your mind, how do you do it? All right? If you try to get a thought out of your mind, you are asserting will. That's because you focused on it. In yoga, in the Eastern teachings from thousands of years ago, way before Freud, they talked about that energy, you, the self, the consciousness inside. It's not consciousness. It's chit shakti. Chit shakti. Conscious energy. That's what it is. It's an electromagnetic spectrum, not electricity and magnetism. They found out they're the same force. So they now call it the electromagnetic spectrum. It's all coming from the same force. It just behaves differently. So Chit Shakti, the self, you in there, you who lives in there, are Chit Shakti. And you have one aspect of your being. It's all one being, but one aspect of that is consciousness. The other aspect is energy. And when consciousness focuses on something, you concentrate, the Shakti comes with it. All of a sudden there's power. That's what will is. It is the focus of consciousness bringing its aspect of Shakti down into it. All right, as far as I'm going in this discussion. That's what will is. How you like that? Okay, so now we have Chit Shakti in there, conscious, and we have the outside world coming in. Wow, that's pretty neat. Okay, but it doesn't feel the same. But you're the one who feels it. In the end, you're the end user. So what do you tend to do almost instinctually when something comes in, you're innocent, it comes in, and it smells, it hurts, I'm scared. What do? Oh, I love you, come on up. No, you don't do that. You get distracted by it. That's why you focus on it. You don't do it purposely. You get distracted. The rattlesnake's rattling. The butterfly's beautiful. So all of a sudden, your consciousness is paying attention to that more than it's paying attention to the grass that the snake is in. So distraction is a very important part of understanding spirituality because consciousness is what's getting distracted. What do you think is getting distracted? I was having this thought, but then it got distracted. Who got distracted? Me, the consciousness. It used to be focusing here, now it goes over there. So when an event comes in, let's just talk about the negative ones. It's easier to start with. When an event comes in that is not pleasant, not to mention traumatic and disturbing and just, I don't use the word traumatic yet because that's psychological. Just let's start with the physiological. Okay, it comes in and it's not pleasant. You don't like it. Your tendency, whose tendency? Will. You in there try to push it away. I do not want to experience this. I do not like this. And that's the birth of the I. And that is what's meant by the fall from the garden. I assure you, your consciousness is God. But it got distracted by one event down there, and it pulled a ray of consciousness down to that and started to build an ego. I don't like snakes. How do you know? If you never saw one, you don't know. I had an experience. Okay, now there's an I. There's something that's separate, consciousness that's separated itself from all other experiences, and it stored that. Because it focused on it, and it said, I don't like that, it doesn't want it to happen again, does it? If it hears a rattle, baby's rattle, it gets scared. If it sees a rope coiled up, that's where all psychology comes from. That's what does this whole thing, is the consciousness got pulled down into form by being distracted by it and focusing on it. In the Bible, what's meant by being in the garden with Adam and Eve prior to the fall, they're just there in God. God created heavens and earth, and now he's experienced his creation. There are snakes, and there are butterflies, and there's rain, and there's storms, and there's sunshine. There's everything. There you are, totally enjoying, experiencing the totality of the universe within your being until you get pulled down, until something happens out there that for whatever reason, that it pulled your consciousness out of the divine consciousness and focused it down on that one object, that snake, or mommy, mommy, oh, mommy, it's holding me. All of a sudden, I'm developing a separate consciousness. It's called the ego. Your consciousness is now focused on these events that happened to you, and you kept them inside, and you built in your personal mind. That's where personal mind comes from. I like mommy. I don't like snakes. I don't like Mary did this. I don't like that. I like this. I don't like my ex-husband. You started building like and dislike instead of seeing everything as it is. And right now, you are so addicted to that most of you can't even understand what I'm talking about. You would not know what it was like to be in there and be here now. That's what's meant by that. Well, wait a minute, what am I experiencing? So I don't like, no, I'm just experiencing something. It's unfolding in front of me. I'm in here and I'm experiencing it. Why? Because it's there. It's there. You said something to me and it wasn't very nice and it felt not nice. And that's that. It's over. Now we go to the next thing. Be here now. I'm present. I didn't store all this garbage inside my mind from before. I saw a snake. It was scary. Now I see a rope. It's a rope. It's not a snake. It's not a baby's rattle. I see a pregnant woman and I had a miscarriage. It has nothing to do with me. I had my experience and this wonderful lady's having her experience. I handled my experience. It was painful. Didn't say it wasn't painful. Like I said, the snake can be scary, but you didn't store it. You didn't say, I can't handle this. I don't want this to have happened. Therefore, I focused my consciousness on it. Of course, in the moment you focus your consciousness, but when the moment's over, are you still there? Focusing your consciousness on it when it's not even there? When did you have your miscarriage? 17 years ago. How are you doing? I can't think about it. People always accuse me of not talking about the sensitive subjects, right? Is it okay? Is it true? It's not happening anymore? But you stored it? You stored it as a terrible thing that I couldn't handle, and I don't want to have had that experience. Therefore, you did what Freud said. You suppressed it. And you built your personal mind. That's where your personal mind came from. Now you can't use your intellectual mind as much, can you? Because you're being distracted by the personal mind. Right? You can't walk around life. We, in general, cannot walk around life without stuff hitting our stuff. Do you have stuff in there? That's where it came from. You resisted the experience and said, I don't want it to happen. I wasn't right. It wasn't fair. I was not just. What in the world does just and fair and right have anything to do with reality? Reality is what's happening. There it is. No. Here, I'm driving down and I see a car accident and somebody's bleeding. And my mind says, well, maybe I should stop. No, I could get sued. I heard people get sued for stopping and doing this stuff. Plus, I can't handle the sight of blood. I remember when I was little, I cut my finger, right? And oh my God, it scared me. My mother made a big deal out of it. What's that all that? You're here now and this person needs help. What are you doing with that garbage going on in your head? That's the personal mind. Otherwise, how can I help? Do I have a first aid kit? Should I call the police? What should I do to help this situation? Not to help me. That's the difference between the personal mind, which comes from what you stored before that you couldn't handle. I always make this statement. Psychology says man is the sum of his learned experiences. First of all, you are not the sum of your learned experiences. You are the consciousness that is aware that your personal mind is the sum of your learned experiences. If you didn't have the experience, you wouldn't be afraid of being sued. If you never cut your finger and mommy didn't make a big deal out of it, you wouldn't have that reaction. So it is true that your psyche, your personal mind, is programmed by the sum of your learned experiences. And so now that's running your whole life. How do you decide what you like? You know what you like, don't you? How do you know what you like? You do not know what you like. You know the past experiences you had that when they came in, they were more pleasant than others. And you want them to happen again. And the ones that don't feel good, you do not want them to happen again. That is what you did with your personal mind. Now, you can't be here now. It's all in your mind. It's all stored past experience. If you never had that experience, then you wouldn't desire that thing and you wouldn't fear that thing. So you're programmed by your past experiences, and now you're running around like a chicken with a head cut off, trying to do what? Manipulate the outside world so it matches what I want inside and doesn't match what I don't want inside. Fair enough? See, intellect works fine with spirituality. That is how we got screwed up, by storing the things that we didn't like and suppressing them inside and then trying to make the outside match them. And that's a lot of work, isn't it? Right? I hate to keep going back to, like I said, I'm not a Bible reader. I read the Bible once in 1971, I think, but it keeps coming back to me. What did they say it's like when you fall from the garden? What's it like after man, woman fell from the garden? You now must work by the sweat of your brow to be okay. Do you work by the sweat of your brow to be okay? Well, of course you do. You're trying to make the outside world match you. How's it working out? Meet somebody, like them. You are projecting you onto them and saying, oh, you're just like me. No, they're not. They had different experiences. I talked about it before. I'm not going to do that again. So now you understand where the personal mind came from. It is the mind with all its intellect and brilliance being fixated on what you suppressed and held inside till you built a me in there. That's what your self-concept is. I made up a me. I'm the one who likes this and doesn't like that and doesn't want to go there and doesn't want to do that but really wants to do this. Now it uses I all the time. What I like and what I don't like and what I want and what I don't want and what you did that I don't like. All right? Is there still an intellectual mind? I hope you still have one. I hope that when you sit there and start playing some music and you really feel into it and so on, that you don't sit there and say, boy, I can make some money off of this. Wow. In other words, bring the creativity, the intellect down to the personal. And they do it, don't they? Okay? But if you have the ability to abstract from that and to not get caught up in the thoughts of yourself, you can do very, very great things. You can give, you can create, you can do great things, all right? And the rest will follow, whatever it is. Some of the greatest artists, you know that, Monet, and they didn't have squat. Nobody knew how great they were. So what? We get to appreciate their greatness. And so they were creative. Beethoven, I love Beethoven. One of the reasons I love Beethoven is, you understand, it's not right to say he composed and write the music. He explains very carefully that music was playing in his head, driving him crazy all the time. He could not live until he could get it out and play it so he could hear it through his ears. When he went deaf. Beethoven went deaf. He cut the legs off his piano and put them down on a wooden vibrating floor so that he could pick up the vibration to hear the music because he couldn't hear anymore. That's an artist. That's like, wow. You have that inside of you. You're brilliant. You have tremendous creativity, tremendous inspiration, but it's all been brought down to the personal mind. So now you understand the personal mind and the intellectual mind, the abstract mind. That's beautiful. I told you, they're the same mind. You just built, like that ocean thing I told you about, right? You petitioned your mind into that which is personal and about me, which is pretty much all of it. And we're just caught in that. And spirituality, now we're ready, okay, we've got time. Spirituality is about, there was a song in the 60s, I like it very much, right? We gotta get out of this place if it's the last thing we ever do. That's what liberation is. When you wake up enough to say, whoa, wait a minute. I'm in here and I built this mess around me that's making me suffer and making everybody else suffer too. Do you understand that? So basically, the way out is reverse. And the way I teach is very simple. Things happen every day that you have difficulty with. I almost said every minute, probably, but certainly regularly, that you do not do okay with, including very simple things like it's raining. The car in front of me is driving 15 miles an hour below the speed limit. You doing okay? No. The lights keep changing red. Every light just keeps running. What kind of thing is this? They should time the lights. Nice blinker, buddy. Anybody? Just me? In other words, you can't handle reality. I started off there, didn't I? You can't handle reality. Well, why should I? The speed limit's 50 and he's going 35. Because speed limit's 50 and he's going 35. That's reality. Now, is it right? Is it fair? Is it just? I know you're in a rush. Is it happening? That's what reality is. Put aside your personal for at least a moment, at least enough to say, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. I didn't say you can't do something about it. Didn't say you can't pass them. Didn't say you can't get out of the rain. I said, is it raining? Yes. Okay, there's reality. Is this guy driving a lot slower? Yes. Can he handle it? No. Okay. The minute you say no, you're about to suppress something else. If you see that car again, even though you're in Germany and it looks the same, your heart will do this. If you understand these things, you're very great beings and you have a chance of getting out. What is getting out? Out of life? No, life's a gift. What do you mean get out of life? Get out of your mind? I told you mind's a tremendous gift. Get out of your heart. Heart's a tremendous gift. How would you like to never have feelings? No, there's no feelings. No, it's you know what the feelings are? Somebody once told me they took a cinematography class in college. And one of the things the professor did was take a famous movie, Star Wars or this or that, right? And play it with no music. Wait till you see what that thing feels like. It's dead. You would never watch it. The heart plays an orchestra behind the events of life. Somebody dies, it plays the funeral march. If somebody's getting married, it plays the rites of spring. You have a built-in orchestra that is in harmony with what is taking place. But you can't handle that. You don't want to feel certain things. And so you suppress them. Okay, so we're talking about it. The problem is this resistance to reality gets stored inside of you, and you build a you based on it. What I like and what I don't like and what happened. What are you doing? I stored this stuff, and therefore I can't feel anything else. It's sad, and you suffer. I was married. Okay, I understand that. Got along for a while. Then it didn't work out. Does that happen? Can it happen? Is there a thing called divorce? I know it's a terrible word. Is there? Okay, I was married. It didn't work out. We got divorced. How you doing? I think about him every day. I can't believe how he treated me. It's just disgusting. I will never forgive him. It just comes up. If I hear somebody of his name calling out, Ben, Ben, I get all uptight. When it was 15 years later. What did you do? You never got divorced. You're still married. Inside. You stored that in there. What a stupid thing to do. I told you once, how smart is it to take every single event that ever happened in your life that bothered you the most and store them inside so you can carry them around for the rest of your life and let them bother you? Have you done that, yes or no? Spirituality is not illogical. It's not non-rational. It's perfectly rational. So there, I asked you a question. Now, isn't that a dumb thing to do? Particularly take the events in life that unfold, that bothered you the most, and store them in there so that they can bother you for the rest of your life. Is there a way to not do that? Yeah, it's called the spiritual path. That is what spirituality is. Spirituality is don't do that. Well, how? How do I not do that? When stuff comes up, it freaks me out. I keep pushing it back down. Okay, I don't teach, don't push it back down. I do not teach that because I know you can't do it. You will get to a point where you can, but that's doing spiritual work. Well, how do I get to that point? And what do I do with the stuff that's in there? If you're playing tennis and you never played before, and every time you hit the ball, it goes into the net, what's the solution? Quit? No. There's this word called practice. If you practice, will you get better? Play the piano. Never touched it before. I can't get anything right. Can you practice? Can you play scales and practice? Same thing with letting go. You practice inside with the simplest things there are that you're not even bothering to not push away. If it is raining on your birthday, it is not raining on your birthday. It doesn't know it's your birthday. God is not against you. It's just a day and you're projecting your garbage. Nothing ever goes the way I want it to. I can't believe it's raining on my birthday. It didn't rain for 5 days before that. What kind of thinking is this? It's certainly not logical. But how about we don't do it? How about we make our spiritual practice, called sadhana, not doing that? Handling these simple little things that we don't bother handling. And we let them keep bothering us. I'm going to tell you a secret. And you guys in the business, ever heard of LIFO and FIFO inventory? Life is a LIFO stack. Last in, first out. If something bothered you a minute ago, it supersedes what happened 3 years ago, temporarily. So if you keep pushing the little stuff down there, the bigger stuff it'll come up, something will happen, right? But it won't naturally cleanse because you have all this garbage on top of you. You'll come home and tell everybody how terrible what happened to you today was and this and that and the other thing. Even though you got stuff down there from 5 years ago, it's just not coming up right now. Anybody understand that? Okay. How about we don't put more down there? I know you can't get rid of all the stuff that's down there right now. If you're a therapist, fine. You can get help, all right? But I'm telling you, the greatest help that you can possibly get, both in life and spirituality, don't put more down there. Work on practicing letting go. Work on practicing. Of course, somebody's going to say something I don't like. Of course, the weather's not going to be exactly what I want. Of course, the car's not going to be. It's not going to be what I want. Let's get that straight. Right or wrong? Have you caught on? It's a lot of work to try to make it be the way I want. You hear me? Go call the police on the guy who's 20 miles an hour below the speed limit. Because I think there's a law in Florida that certain miles in the speed limit, you're not in the right-hand lane, that you can do it. Go call the police. Get involved. Fill out forms. The guy drives for 3 blocks and turns. Find him again. Write down the license number. What are you doing? And instead you say, I can handle this. That's your mantra. I can handle this. I can handle fine. He's driving slower. I'll breathe. I'll be nice. I give you all these techniques. You know what you do when someone's driving like that in front of you, miles below? You sit there and say, wow, Grandma has just a few years left that she can drive, and she won't be able to drive anymore. I'm going to tailgate her and beep. No, no, I don't think so. I think we'll say, okay, Grandma, go for it, baby. You hear me? You can use positive thinking. You can do all kinds of things. Don't put that stuff down there. And don't you dare think it doesn't matter, because it does matter. The more you complain, the more you don't accept, the more you store in all this garbage. Wait till you get older, and then you've had so many experiences that bothered you, there aren't any that don't. Come on, go hang out with some older people, normal older people. It's just a constant thing, how things used to be, and I'm thinking before he died, and then the thing, and I can now, and then the food's not right. Yes or no? Because you collected all this stuff. Don't do it anymore. Just start with the simple stuff and practice not suppressing it. Practice not complaining about it. Practice not letting it become who you are, the person who complains about everything. And what you're going to find is, believe it or not, they were from all over the world. Oh, you helped me so I didn't help anybody. You helped you. You took the teachings and you practiced them. And literally, like I was on the verge of divorce and I wasn't dealing with the kids and so on. And I just started practicing letting go. I started practicing, okay, they're not the way I want exactly, but I can handle that. And now the love came back and we're getting along so well. Of course you are. That you went to work and something happened at work that wasn't pleasant. Did you bring it home? And do you have to suppress it to not bring it home? No, I don't like suppression. Can I let it go? Can I sit there and say, into every life some rain must fall, and the boss was the cause of the cloud, all right? Can you make light of it? Can you have fun with it? Can you let go? And the answer is no. Why? You haven't practiced. That letting go is an inner state, not an outer thing. It's not about accepting everything that happens out there. It's about accepting it in here. Why? Because it actually happened, all right? And so now I learn to relax and release and let go. And all of a sudden, I'm much happier. Of course you are. You're not complaining as much. You're not getting yourself upset about things all the time that don't matter. And the next thing you know, and I guarantee you, and by the way, it's skull and crossbones, be careful, the old stuff will start coming up. Do I have to pull it up? No, don't worry. It'll come up by itself. Because you stop pushing stuff on top of it, it doesn't want to be down there. Do you understand? That stuff doesn't want to be down there. That's not natural. It was trying to pass through the universe. And so you basically say, yes, if you need to come up, this is when you're ready. First you do the little stuff. And at some point you look at it and you say, I don't want this stuff in here. It's ruining my life. And everybody else's too. Therefore, when it starts to come up, it's going to hurt. It was stored with pain. It's coming back with pain. You want to welcome it. That's where I got eventually. When it starts coming up, thank you. Thank you. I don't want to be sick physically, so that when the body's complaining it's sick, I want to help it. I want to take it to a doctor. I want to work with what I need to bring about health. Well, you want to do that with your mind also, because it's sick. Because you shoved all that garbage down there, and it causes your emotions to be weird, and it causes all kinds of stuff to be weird. So as it comes up, you welcome it. But what if it's so strong that I can't handle it? Then you can't handle it, and you will push it away, and you'll do better next time. It's just like I'm trying to play the scales. I make a mistake. Fine. That's why you're practicing the scales, so you can make mistakes and get better at it. So don't worry about falling. Don't worry about being perfect. There's no way in the world. Just welcome it, the best of your ability, welcome it, honor it, and eventually you know what you'll get. And I'll stop because I have to. We're going very deep. You will apologize for having shoved it down there. You will realize I wasn't evolved enough to handle the moment that unfolded in front of me. And so I suppressed it. Now I am evolved enough to realize how absurd that was, to carry the worst thing that ever happened to me inside of me. As it comes up, you first welcome it, and then you look down there and you apologize. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shoved that down there. I'm sorry it happened. It happened. It happened. Life happens. I don't have to be sorry it happened. In fact, I can grow because it happened. I can become a better, stronger person because I went through this. And all of a sudden, you just help it. You grab it by the hand and help. Come on, as much time as you need, I'll help you. And that's there's a line in the Gita that I really love. One should raise the self with self, not trample down the self. For self that can be self's friend can become self's foe. And one self is capitalized. One should raise the self, the consciousness. You in there, hello, the witness. You should raise the lower self with self, not trample down the self. Isn't that amazing? Not push it away. Raise it up. For self, which is self's friend, can become self's foe. You can be in there, create a mess of yourself because you can't handle what's going on. But you can reach down there and say, I am so sorry I shoved that stuff down there. I wasn't evolved enough to handle it, but I am now. So come on up and I'll help you. And then you become integrated, an integrated being. All your energy. There's no subconscious anymore. There doesn't need to be. Take that ocean I talked about, bury it off. Take the barriers down. The ocean's ocean. All right? So as you let go of that stuff down there, because you don't need to keep shoving it down, it goes away. And eventually there's just you, this giant, beautiful being that's integrated and whole. I always finish my talk beyond this. We haven't even talked about anything yet. Do you understand that? That is what it means to be centered at some point in the self. Established in the seat of self. You're the witness. Objective observation. You're able to watch what's going on down there and raise it up. What happens when you raise it up? What happens is instead of the tendency to be pulled down because you've released all this energy inside that was pulling you down, it starts to pull you up. It changes direction. I'm telling you the truth. You don't realize it right now. You are looking down. You're looking down. Consciousness doesn't look down. It's 360. It's everywhere. And as you let go of the distraction that pulls you down, it starts to go up. And you feel this energy rushing up inside of you. When? All the time. All the time. Until you can't handle what happened, then you get pulled down, all right? And at some point, you will never get pulled down because it's too beautiful inside. And you start realizing you in there are the most beautiful thing ever walked the face of the earth. And there's absolutely no reason for you to have all these preferences and hopes and dreams because you're it, baby. Anything you ever hoped for is actually going on inside of you. You just had to offset the garbage you shoved down there instead. And the Shakti just starts going up and up and up and up. And the great ones, and that's why this picture on the wall, there are very great beings who not only let go and got pulled up, but then they're there being pulled up, and you're going to find it's not easy to let go because now what's being let go of is your sense of individuality, your sense of self. And at some point, they let go. And the next thing you know, boom, you merged. Your drop of your consciousness fell into the ocean of consciousness, fell into God, fell into the whole, fell into the unmanifest, and you become one. That's what Christ meant when he said, my Father and I are one. Isn't that beautiful? Christ was the greatest yogi. And the great masters, Meher Baba said, my consciousness was a drop looking down at me. It fell into the ocean. Find a drop of water after it falls into the ocean. I want you to find it. You can't. It merged. That's the oneness. Now we talked a little bit higher. That's who you are. You're a tremendously great being. Not someday you will be. You are divine consciousness, the one, the creator of the universe, staring at you, addicted to you. As you let go, it goes up. All right, there. Now I'll stop. Jai Gurudev.
You've been listening to the Michael Singer Podcast, produced by Sounds True in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information on Michael's body of work and all back episodes, please join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Sounds True, waking up the world.